Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Nexi Forecast. This is the show where we chat with people making waves in real estate and beyond. Today I'm excited to have a truly special guest, Dante Royster, who is an award-winning mortgage broker and also founder of Epic Mortgage. Dante, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Dante is known for helping people land their dream homes, moving fast on deals, and bringing a personal touch to every client. So let's kick things off. So can you, like Dante, start of a story about yourself and just tell us how you started doing what you do today?
Really, I graduated college and I had a sports background and, kind of as I was waiting for an offer to come that never did, I was looking for a
Yeah,
job. And, I was looking for a job that obviously that I could really, just pay the bills. I really didn't have any, notion of what I wanted to do other than be a financial advisor. I was always good with numbers, and I figured a lot of my friends played professionally, so I thought I could help them.
yeah,
And I was a little intimidated, obviously, just becoming a financial advisor at the time, just because, in the States, really you have to kind of develop these relationships. There's no salary or no um, real harness, and so my family is predominantly, W-2 wage earners. And so they're
yeah,
used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks.
yeah.
And the mortgage business at the time, when I started, offered that type of transaction. So that was an easy route for me to go. And I think what really, what I found to be pretty neat right away was, kind of this competition level amongst other loan officers. We were in an office kind of dialing for dollars, and we
Yeah.
would have a board, a chart, of who was the top, salesperson or something like that. So I kind of like that concept of being competitive amongst my peers. And then the concept that, when to be competitive to get your name up there, that means you would help people. And I've
Yeah.
always enjoyed helping people. And so the concept of like, hey, it's a win-win situation where, hey, I get paid if I help you, and so that's the only way I get paid. I really did enjoy that mindset.
Nice, awesome. So, like looking back, what was like the biggest surprise for you when you were like first started? Like something that you can talk about.
I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
Okay.
it was a situation where that's not really something that was talked about, around our dinner table, right? When my mom and dad, we were sports esque. We're talking about, I'm from the Chicagoland area, so Bulls and Bears. We're talking about all the sport teams and who's
Yeah.
winning and who's good. So I didn't really understand, finance per se. From a personal level, I didn't really have those that information given to me. So I was kind of surprised at just how different people live, how things are structured and who knows what and who doesn't know enough. And so
Yeah.
that has always been something kind of, you know, it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah, nice. When was like the a moment that made you feel like I have to do this? This is it to make that the first step, I can say. The big step, I can say.
I would fast forward a little bit. Once again, I thought, to some degree, loan officer was kind of like an entry level position. And as an entry level position, it was a situation where you start with being a loan officer and then you work your way up, become a branch manager, a regional manager. So I didn't really think of being a loan officer as a career per se. And I think I was working for a company and I was an account executive. The company no longer exists, but I was an account executive. And my job was to provide presentations and do,
Hmm.
to audiences that were mortgage brokers,
Yeah,
and that was the first time I got to see all these great people that were independent mortgage brokers, that they chose that path, and they actually were lifers, that had put 20, 30 years as a loan officer, have this client database, took care of
yeah,
their clients and stuff like that. So that was the kind of the first eye-opening experience, like, wow, this is not just an entry-level position. It actually is something that you could make a career in doing.
yeah. Nice. So as you mentioned, you accomplished a lot, but as we talked in the past, like, but every business has its own challenges. What's like the toughest part about getting your message out there in such a crowded market? especially in
Exactly.
the US.
Yeah, well, you're saying it best. I mean, the traffic, right? There's so much noise. I
Hmm.
think of a consumer just every day, going down the street and all the billboard signs. Come here,
Yeah.
come here. There's so many distractions that can lead you, and then there's so many people, right? The saturation of people, there's probably, roughly anywhere from 10 to 20,000 loan officers, that could do the job, right? So why do they choose me versus somebody else? So it's highly competitive in that way. It is the ability to market your business and really, kind of ground level up marketing of
Hmm.
really, shaking hands, introducing yourself to the world, meeting people, and getting connected in that form. So it is very challenging in that nature, which kind of helps for me because my competitive nature to really try to get my message out and make sure it's clear.
Yeah, yeah, I got you there because like being the client in this kind of space can it's like being pulled over on from all directions because everyone is like trying to sell you, I can say, or maybe also help you in this case. But
Correct.
yeah, always in your case like this, like I set you apart from the competition, like being the best and also be the honest one, and also showing the results, which is also awesome. So with so many ways to communicate like with the clients, so text, emails, calls, social media, and also mentioning that we have like a tons of social media now. How do you keep up and make sure your clients feel still connected to you?
Exactly. And to your point, all those platforms, you have to touch all of them nowadays. You can't leave one stone unturned because everyone communicates a little bit differently. I could think of one transaction where the client basically communicated via Facebook Messenger the whole period of time.
Yeah.
She didn't text me. She didn't want to call me. She just communicated via Facebook Messenger. Other people like to text. Other people like to talk. You really have to be a chameleon in this space nowadays to blend into what
Absolutely.
your customer is. There's always there's that tough-minded person out there. No, they're going to do what I want them to do. I'm more, I do what my customer wants me to do. If they want me to text, I'll text. If they want to email, it's fine. But you have to, touch them in all those platforms, and that's the way you introduce yourself sometimes for the first time.
And also be reachable from everywhere because it
Sure.
depends what your clients like prefer to use, what's their first door channel to use. So yeah, that's nice. So let's talk about your workflow for a second. Like what
Sure.
parts of your day-to-day work do you find the most time consuming or also repetitive in today's work?
Obviously there is no secret sauce, right? So, and
Hmm.
that's always the kind of we got to pull down the curtain and tell everybody out there is no secret sauce, right? It is about discipline and consistency. Those are really the only two facets that you need. If you can stay disciplined and you can stay consistent, you will be successful. It just takes time. And there is no, the time is going to vary between who you are and what you're doing to get there, but you will get there.
Exactly. Yep.
It's up for some people, they have great success maybe within 5 years because they're meeting the right people right away. Some people have to bump their head multiple times, and then they figure it out. And so for others, it's a 20-year success, 30-year success. So you will be successful if you stay consistent and disciplined. So as far as my day to day grind, we do Epic Lunch and Learn Monday through Wednesday, which we basically, take an hour to talk to the audience, talk to the customers out there that might be interested, talk to realtors out there that might be interested, and let them know, hey, we're out here and we're answering questions. We're, explaining things, giving you information. So then that way you can take that information and use it, and
Yeah.
and apply it. So that was something new that we did, and I think there has been success in doing it. Obviously, that is time consuming, right? I mean, it's an
Yeah.
hour out of my day doing this. It's also the preparation work to get ready for it. And then it's also getting guests. I don't want it to just be me. I want to get different perspectives on there. And so I
Yeah, of
invite
course.
guests on. And so you have to
Yeah.
book those, as you know how to do that too.
Yeah, of course, I got you there. So,
Yeah.
are there like any specific task that you would like to spend less time on since you're the founder and maybe you have more important stuff to be focused on, like closing new clients, okay? Trying to scale more, What are some tasks that we can say besides this one you mentioned on this part that you would like maybe to be like solved, I can say? or that like
Sure.
can be like
Yeah.
just took off your out of your way so you can focus like just bringing more money on the company.
Well, as an owner, you want to be an owner. And so
Yeah.
when you start a business, you don't there's levels, right? There's levels to
Hmm.
the game. And so when you start a business as an entrepreneur and you start as right way, you're a business operator. You're actually not
Yeah.
really a business owner. You're operating the business. Everything flows through you. And I had to understand that. I didn't get that at first, So,
Yeah.
we're in our 6th year right now and I'm doing everything, right? I'm wearing 7 different hats. And so the delegation of delegating all these different hats from HR, payroll, scheduling appointments, all that has to take place. Where
Yeah.
eventually, you eventually as the owner, you just want to be the talking head. I want to be the head that talks, and then we have this force that sales force that handles the clients and customers. You have operations staff that closes the deals and gives you that. Here at Epic Mortgage, we want to give you that epic experience. So it's really building and to your point, scaling to a point
Hmm.
where you can actually become the business owner and not necessarily the business operator. So
Yeah.
you first have to recognize that you're an operator and you are the logjam, and you have to quickly get yourself out of the log jam and let the business flow so you can handle more. And so we're working on that right now. So we're trying to delegate all those things. Now, one thing they don't tell you out there, all the gurus, and I'm like, shame on
Hmm.
you, gurus. Delegation costs money. you
Sure.
know Hiring people costs money. They don't work for free. All right, so
Yeah.
sorry, got to break the news. So in order to get this delegation, you have to you know take care of your clients well, do the right things, and build a database that could take care of you.
Yeah. So yeah, as you mentioned about the clients, like as you take more and more clients, how do you make sure like everyone still gets that personal experience of your company, of Epic Mortgage experience?
Great question. And obviously, I think you have to look at yourself as what you did to be successful as an individual,
Yeah.
and then make sure you pass on those similar tasks. So, we have a welcome call, a welcome
Hmm.
introduction. Hey, welcome to the Epic Experience. I'm, Dante's assistant. They're going to take care of you. We're going to provide milestones. We're going to
Yeah.
provide different touches throughout the process because,
Awesome.
buying a house is very it's stressful. It's stressful for most that,
Yeah, it's a big
especially if it's your
decision.
first time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sometimes it's the biggest expense that you'll ever spend in your life is
Of
buying this
course.
actual house and investing in yourself.
Yep, yep, totally agree on that. Now, let's jump on the tech side. We can say like how hard was uh getting familiar with the tech changes, let's say now versus 10 years ago. And now since we are also talking about the AI, like the next revolution,
Mhm.
how hard was like fitting in and also using that to scale more and also manage like the internal team, manage your work, also improving your client satisfaction.
Yeah, AI is going to be huge for us. Obviously it can enhance our capabilities. It's funny, I think AI is almost the reversal. It was like, hey, with AI, it's going to make you less busy because they can do so much for you. But now you recognize how many things you can do, and now you end up doing more things, right? So it's
Yep,
it's it's
exactly.
putting more activities. So it's AI is amazing. We use it every day. From desktop underwriting is AI. From obviously just marketing AI stuff like that. So it's huge. It is a huge component that we use every day, and it hopes and in hopes it gets us to our end result faster. That's what we're hopeful for. But as far as a business and taxes and just that transformation, I mean, I just feel like you're constantly always learning. I
Yeah.
think sometimes, and I know where I came from in the States, you go to high school, you go to college, and then you get this diploma and you think it's over. You think it's it. But actually,
Yeah.
no, you giving yourself the license to now self-study on your own. But you have to constantly be studying and reading on your own. No one's going to be there. No guidance counselor or teacher is going to say, "Hey, did you read today?" but you need to read. And I know even in my 20s, which probably set me back was I stopped.
Yeah.
Because I just like, hey, I went to college. I don't need to do that anymore. And then that's, and I kind of in my 30s, thanks to some of these gurus out there, I recognize like, oh, there's a component I'm missing. I have to do this on my own. And that's something I had to learn over time.
Yeah, yeah, there's where AI comes up, because as you talk it out yourself, like AI is the next big thing, especially in real estate part, because there are a lot of like real estate mortgage companies who are using it daily, like to spend or to get new clients, to manage the new clients, the client portal, and so on, and like does not knowing how AI works in these days, or like just like doesn't know how to turn on a computer or at least type a message or something. It will be
Right.
crucial for people in the future. But as I can see it, because as I'm talking daily with leaders in this space, as I can see it, like the most important thing, like for leaders like yourself, aren't like just, aren't isn't like knowing how to do the automation, because there are always people for that. You can always hire someone, but at least knowing that someone can be like automated is like knowing how to do the whole part, because you can always like automate stuff. So can you tell us like what's working best for you right now in terms of finding new clients or getting referrals?
Really, it's the technology, like you said. It's the podcast, it's the live show. We have Epic Spotlight podcast on YouTube. We have our YouTube channel. It's providing more exposure, right? It's really
Yeah.
pulling back the curtain, letting people see, what we do on a day in day out basis. Give them our ideology, so people can make decisions on their own. One of the things that we've noticed, in the States, and this is something that I've always been working on, roughly about 50% of customers go to the realtor first, and then the realtor tells them who to go to as a lending institution. And we're trying to buck that trend a little bit. We want to bring that number down. I mean, obviously, they put so much emphasis on getting a realtor. The realtor becomes kind of like the general contractor, right? And I'm just the plumber or the electrician on the team. And of course, we do that. We work with realtors as well. But
Yeah.
from a lending mindset, it's better for a customer to get pre-approved first anyway,
Yeah.
because once they're pre-approved, then I can go ahead and say, hey, this is what you qualify for. Now you go out and find a house that, fits those dynamics. So customers really should go to the lending institution first. But the thing is, we've always been behind the scenes for so long that they've always just naturally, oh, let me get a realtor, and the realtor will tell me to go to Dante, James, Mark, or whoever. So we're making a real emphasis with the channels and the AI and with the marketing to really let customers know, come to us first. We'll get you pre-approved, and then we'll get you on your way to the realtor of choice, that's in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, yeah. So on the client side, like how much have you like integrated the AI automation with a relationship between you and the client? And how is the client like, facing that or working with those? How did that impact the client satisfaction? Because there are a lot of clients also in this space who are like late 60s, and it's
Correct.
hard for them in this case to like understand the AI. Like they are talking with a person and they cannot just accept that. They are talking with a person with a chat and they don't get that. So how hard is that in your space?
It's very difficult. You're speaking of like Angel AI, right? For example, Angel AI allows me to duplicate myself. You have my voice, and it can be a part of the dialer, right? So we can use Angel AI to reach out to customers, and then they can call the customer. It has my actual voice, more robotic, but it's still my voice saying, "Hey, it's Dante. I want to schedule a time with you," and what it works. It's very confusing. And the older you are, the more seasoned folks tend to push back on that, like, hey, that was weird. Why didn't you just call me yourself? It's like,
Yeah.
and all we're trying to do is we're trying to be efficient with our time. At the end of the day, we all only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And I talked about this yesterday. I said, 8 hours, I'll give you 8 hours that you're probably sleeping, and then what do you do with those 16 hours is going to determine ultimately
Yeah.
how successful you are. And so, we're trying to be efficient, and that would create efficiency. So we have to do some different things. Sometimes we have pulled back from AI in that regard and used it in different realms. Maybe I can get that in more of a funnel, let's say on a social media
Yeah.
platform. I might use a human being to make those necessary phone calls because they're still important. But,
Yeah.
just for my customer database, they rather talk to a human being because sometimes there is a pushback on really embracing the future.
Yep, yep, dependent always on the client because there are like a lot of powerful tools. When the AI calling, the AI agent who calls you, it's super advanced. You can barely know it's an agent. So yeah, it depends always. So let's do
Sure.
like a flip to the wins of your wins. Can you share a story where you helped a client who was like turned down somewhere else, but you made it happen on your end?
Sure. No, just we just had a closing on a couple days ago. So, yeah, I mean, basically, we're an independent mortgage broker and we're licensed in multiple states. And
Yeah.
as an independent mortgage broker, at times, just because of the history, we get a bad rap. So most people still think that they should go to their bank. Let me go to the big box bank. Where I have my checking and savings account, they'll take care of me, and that's not necessarily the case. Numbers we've had, research studies have shown that people actually save, tens of thousands of dollars going with an independent mortgage broker. I mean, that's why I'm here. I've done the
Yeah.
research and made the choice that this is the best scenario for me. So, I believe in it. So at the end of the day, sometimes people go to banks and they're told no because banks, only have one size shoe, right? So imagine you go to a shoe store and all they have is size 11. Well, what if
Yep.
you're a 12? What if you're a 13? What if you're a 10? And so we are that place that has all the different types of size of shoes. And so that's why, and that's what I was hopeful, and that's why I chose this path, to help as many people as I can. I don't just have one size shoe. It's just not shoe size 11. I have 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and so on. And so I can help people in different situations, whether it's a credit issue, whether it's an income challenge, whether it's even an asset challenge. We can help you out, and that's what really separates us.
Perfect. Nice. Always the results will matter. Like, what advice would you give to someone who like feels stuck just below their next milestone, I can say?
Yeah, I mean, everything starts with strategy.
Yeah.
Everything starts with being proactive. The first step in alcoholism is that recognize you have a problem. And so
Okay.
I would encourage people, if you understand that you have an issue, that you feel stuck, that you're not being able to get to the next level, we need to, embrace that. And we're going to need to work together on creating a plan because, back in the day, I've been doing this for over 2 decades now. When I first got going, it was a situation where you could do something, make a mistake, and I could help you still from a mortgage perspective because I could kind of clean you up and put you back out there. But, with the rules that have changed past 2007, 2008,
Yeah.
that's gone now. So now everything has to be proactive. If you make a mistake, I can't really bail you out anymore. So you have to be proactive on, hey, what's the plan? Where are you trying to go? You only live once. Let's plan this out and make it happen.
Nice. I love it. So as you work with different kind of clients, what's the most meaningful feedback you ever got from a client? Since you're helping them like with life-changing decisions.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's I don't take it for granted. I really don't take it for granted. Sometimes it's hard to embrace the moment when it happens, but it's the tears of joy, the happiness, the screaming for "Wow, we did it!" I mean, some people really didn't think they were ever going to do it. Some people didn't think they were going to be a homeowner. The countless thank yous that I receive, it really makes me feel good. I know this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do, and and I just try to work hard at each and every day. But yeah, obviously, it's just the thank yous. That's really, hey, you did the right thing for that person and for that
Yeah.
family, and then we move on.
Nice. So I've seen something also in your profile. So you are an award winning mortgage broker, right? Can
Correct.
you tell us more about that experience or that roadmap, I can say?
Yeah, I was acknowledged with the Scotsman's Guide. I'm top 1% in the country for units. That I help so many families out on a per year basis. I've been 13 times in a row on the Chicago Magazine. So locally in Illinois, Chicagoland area, I'm viewed as one of the top mortgage. Brokers and professionals out here. So I appreciate all the awards. It really is a testament to my team, first and foremost. My team supports me. I'm not a
Nice.
one man band. We
Yeah.
we really have built out a strong team. So I'm very thankful to them. If they weren't there, this wouldn't be me. And I'm thankful to my family, and I appreciate all the clients as well. All the clients have taken their faith and trust into me, and I try to deliver each and every day.
Nice. So, and before we wrap up, where do you think this industry is heading next? What's your thoughts on the changes or the opportunities you're watching?
Well, AI is taking over. I mean, we're already starting to see AI do underwriting. So, that will eventually, push out many underwriters because underwriters overall are expensive. And so we'll probably see you know, there'll be a point in time where you'll just have like a underwriter manager and then all the underwriting will be done by AI. So a
Yeah.
lot of these underwriters will be out of jobs. And so they'll have to make a decision on where they fit in the industry. I think you'll also see, I'm just thinking of the mortgage lending. I'll stay away from the real estate, per se, but just you're already starting to see countless, reviewing Google
Yep.
reviews or Google Earth. You can look at homes, right? If you have the address, you can all go through the house, so you won't even have to necessarily drive there per se. You can actually, just physically see it on your computer.
Yeah. You can see the whole neighborhood.
Exactly. So the value, right? Because obviously since we have to pay for realtors, the value is really they're going to have to prove themselves of their worth, of why I should, spend this money for you when I can do a lot of things on my own. It might be more flat fee based in the real estate market. And then I think, ultimately, hopefully, and this is what we all hope for with AI, it's just a better experience, right? We can get
Yep.
some of that minutia and that maze, the mortgage, just obtaining mortgage financing sometimes feels like a maze for some people. Like, what's next? What's wrong now? Hopefully, with AI, we can get answers quicker, make quicker decisions, so it can be a quicker path to getting to becoming a homeowner.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like, where can our listeners like connect with you or also learn more about your business and company? Where can they also reach out?
Definitely. Well, the playbook is out. The ultimate mortgage guide. It's my book. I wrote this book, a couple of years ago. It's great information. It talks about the products that are available to people. Especially obviously more focused in the States. So if anyone's interested, you can go to Amazon.com. The Ultimate Mortgage Guide. It gives you a real kind of template of just different mortgage products, different scenarios that have occurred, and just how we work through it, just to have a better mindset of embarking into homeownership. And then obviously my YouTube channel, Epic Spotlight, is definitely a place where you could start. We have the live show Monday through Wednesday, and then we
Yeah,
also have our podcast interviews and our monologues on Fridays, which seems like people are liking and tracking. So definitely hope that people like, subscribe, and share with friends and family.
absolutely. Okay, then Dante, that's like a wrap up from my side. It has been fun, awesome, and very inspirational. I can say conversation. So thank you very much for joining and sharing your story. And for everyone who's listening, don't forget to subscribe and more to hear more great conversation like this one. See you on the next episode.